Typhoon Haiyan, which struck the Philippines with such devastating force on November 8th, is a tragedy of epic proportions. It'll take months to calculate its full human and economic toll. But even as this grim accounting begins, the storm has driven home three realities about natural disasters and the world's ability to cope with them. First, the global threat of devastating disasters is rising thanks to a combination of climate change, population growth, and urbanization. As the world warms, extreme weather events, from record-setting droughts to massive hurricanes, are becoming commonplace. Typhoon Haiyan was the most powerful tropical cyclone to make landfall in recorded history. Rich countries obviously aren't immune from such calamities, as Hurricane Katrina showed. But developing countries are especially vulnerable, given demographic trends. By mid-century, the world will add another 2 billion people, and the proportion of people living in cities will grow from just over 50% today to 2/3. Most of this urban growth will be in coastal areas in the developing world, including many that are prone to tropical storms and flooding. What makes this so dangerous is that few cities are prepared to cope with a massive influx of migrants, much less prepare for disasters. By 2030, more than 2 billion people will be living in sprawling slums and shanty towns with little modern infrastructure, leaving them at grave risk to natural disasters. We saw the calamitous results of this in the Philippine city of Tacloban, where crudely built homes were tossed aside like matchsticks. Second, the international community lacks the tools it needs. Globally, the United Nations tries its best to coordinate international responses to disasters, but the unit tasked with this job, the Office of the Coordinator for Humanitarian Affairs, or OCHA, is under-resourced. It's forced to issue special appeals to raise funds from UN member states for each emergency. Regional organizations, meanwhile, vary enormously in their ability to respond to disasters. In the case of the Philippines, one would expect that the Association of Southeast Asian Nations would be taking a leading role, but it lacks the essential response capabilities to fulfill its mandate for disaster management and emergency response. Given these shortcomings, it's often left to the United States to fill the vacuum, and that usually means the Department of Defense, which has 4 times as big a budget for emergency response as the U.S. Agency for International Development. Over the past decade, the Pentagon has deployed its unmatched logistical capabilities to respond to the Indian Ocean tsunami, to earthquakes in Pakistan and Haiti, and now to Typhoon Haiyan. But relying so heavily on the military is not always appropriate. Going forward, the United States needs to provide its civilian agencies with the resources to shoulder some of this burden. Third, preparedness can make a difference. Today, too much global energy goes into disaster response rather than building resilience against emergencies in the first place. This needs to change. One way is by retargeting development assistance to help countries assess their vulnerability to natural disasters and to invest in critical infrastructure to minimize risk. Heavily populated urban areas in particular will need to invest in early warning mechanisms and robust contingency plans. But to be successful, a commitment to emergency preparedness must permeate the entire society so that local communities at the grassroots level are ready when the time comes.